Okay, hey, good morning. Can you guys hear me a little bit? It's not going, I can hear it a bit, it's just not very loud. It is loud? It depends. Oh, yeah, hey. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know, are there any speakers in the back there for you folks? Yeah, it looks like some of them are turning their head too. All right, if I could get those of you who can hear me, if you could quiet down a little bit, so those who can't hear me will soon be able to hear me and quiet down. If I could get your attention. Attention! Hey, thanks. Hey, folks, we're trying to get started, and there are a few speakers around here. I know it's kind of a convoluted shaped room, and it's hard to see and hear from certain places, but if it's sort of quiet in here, then I think you can hear all right. Is there anyone who can't hear me now? Or if you can hear me in the back corner, can you guys raise your hand? Can you hear me over there? Okay, so that's good. And you guys by the front door, how's the sound over there? Can you hear all right? Okay, cool. All right. This won't take too long, but I do want to kind of kick things off, especially welcome everyone. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Charles Eckel. I'm the chair of the hackathon. So if you have any questions along the way, and my co-chair over here, Barry, can raise your hand. We're the guys to come to if there's a problem, technical, non-technical, whatever. If you have questions, come find us. We'll try to help you out as best we can. As you've seen, there's a lot of people who this is not their first hackathon. They're kind of used to how it goes, and people sort of self-organized. But especially if it's your first one and you're feeling a little lost, we're here to help you. So I'm going to go through a short presentation, maybe take about 15 minutes or so to run through how what the hackathon is, how the next couple of days are going to work. If you have questions at any point, bring them up. And if you want to come see me afterwards, that's fine too. But the idea being that hopefully within like the next hour or so, you'll not only know exactly how the whole weekend's going to go, but you'll have a good idea, and maybe you found a team that you're going to work with, or maybe multiple teams that you might be working with, and be plugged into something. That's the goal of this next hour. So with that, I'm going to kind of step back, and if you're having if you can't see the screen, it's not a huge deal, but there is an option, which I just verified worked. If you go to the main IETF hackathon site, it's ietf.org/hackathon. That's where I'm at now. You'll find the wiki page, and this is going to be important to you for many reasons. But if you go to IETF99, click on the wiki page, there's a lot of information here about all the different projects and whatnot. But what I want to show you is that we do have, for remote participants, we have the MeetEcho set up. And if you click on that, you can get into the MeetEcho, which I'm into here. And you can see I'm actually like seeing what I'm presenting here. So you can you can follow along remotely and see what's going on. Oh, that's interesting. I hope that's what it is. And maybe once I actually start presenting something else, we'll be okay. Well, I'm going to see if I can just get it to work the way I want it to. That'll be more exciting. So if anyone else is in the MeetEcho, it should be presenting pretty normally now. And this screen will hopefully come up in a second. We have a brand new projector, which is pretty cool. Maybe we'll use this for some things more exciting than my slides later on. I heard watching Game of Thrones, people wanted to do that. I think I might broadcast the Tour de France if I can instead. But anyways, let me get through the slides. So first of all, welcome. I think I kind of said that. Just want to get a sense for in the room, how many of you, this is your first time at an IETF hackathon? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. This is by far the largest we've ever had, so it makes sense that there's a lot of you that this is the first time. This is also like really important to me because one of the goals is to bring new people into the IETF through the hackathon. How many of you, this is your first time at like an IETF anything? Yeah, keep your hands up for a minute. Yeah, okay, well, that's fantastic. And I hope that this is a good first experience for you and that it won't be your last. we'll do everything we can to make it a good experience. And I can almost guarantee it will be. And also, how many of you are here just for the hackathon and you're actually not going to be sticking around through the week of IETF? Okay, we have a number of you too. So, and that's perfectly fine. That's one of the things that we do as part of the hackathon. You're free to do that. And if you are interested in attending the IETF, and it's possible for you to be around, and there was like financial reasons why you couldn't, like registration or something, talk to me. We may be able to work something out. No guarantees there, but I'd be curious to find out if that was what blocked you. Okay, so the goals of the hackathon. I already mentioned the bringing new people in is one of the goals, but other stuff is we really want to bring the IETF kind of back to its original roots of basing all the work we do on running code. Preferably, if that could be open source code, that's great, because then when you go to look at the standards, you're not only reading a draft, but you can actually see the code, use the code, and contribute back to the code. So that's the ideal scenario. What we're trying to do with a lot of what's going on in the hackathon here is to speed up the work we're doing on standards, not replace it in any way. But you have a draft, you have some ideas, you have some algorithms in there, you have a protocol, whatever it is, to be able to test that out and verify that it's actually works and that it's complete and implementable. That's one of the things we're trying to do here. And of course, as all of you are already taking advantage of, meeting your neighbors, meeting new people, hopefully having a good time, and collaborating with each other, that's a big part too. And we will have cookies. That's a mandatory thing with the IETF. They're always a little bit different depending on which country you're in. And we're going to have some beer later on too, so we'll have some fun along the way. As with everything in the IETF, we operate under the note well. I don't expect you to read this right now, but if you haven't already, although the screen's pretty good, so you might be able to read it. Take a look at the IETF note well. We're operating under that. You had to agree to that as part of your IETF registration. Your hackathon registration. So hopefully no surprises there. When it comes to the code you're working on, this is something that I won't go into too much detail on, but you're not contributing code necessarily to the IETF. You could, but in most cases, you'll be working on, say, some open source code or some code that has an existing license with it already. So the work you're doing on the code, it's the rules around that are just governed by whatever project, whatever open source project, whatever code you're actually working on. And that the code itself is not an IETF contribution. However, when you do come up here and say at the end, we're going to have presentations where you get a chance to share what it was you did and accomplish, or things you put and you made available through the wiki or whatever, those are all normal IETF contributions. So that's kind of the way we separate things out here in terms of what we're doing at the hackathon. I mentioned sharing code, and if you already have a place set up that's housing the code and you're able to share it with the people in your team, great. Keep using it, that's fantastic. Hopefully you have a pointer to it in the wiki. If you need a place to put the code, we do have a GitHub organization for the IETF hackathon, and you can come see me. I'll add you to that. We'll create a project, and so it'll make it easier for you to share, and I'll find the code you're working on. Totally optional to use this, but it is handy, and you can see we do have some past hackathon projects up there already, and we're happy to add more if it's useful for you. Okay, and again, jump in with questions anytime, and if I don't see your hand, just yell and I'll try to answer it. So the next 2 days, going to briefly just run through how this works. So we're at this kickoff part and shouldn't take very long, and then if you haven't already gotten in a team or figured out what team you want to be in, this beginning part on Saturday, this is the great time to go roam around, see what everyone else is doing, and hopefully get plugged into a team. If you're having a hard time finding something that looks interesting to you, come see me. I don't have an in-depth knowledge of all the projects, but I do know a little bit about most of them and can hopefully help direct you to the right people so that you can get questions answered. And around there's some food here now for breakfast if you haven't seen it. Lunch will be brought in. So ideally, please plan on sticking around with us. If you need to go out for any reason, that's perfectly fine. You can leave and come back. There's no rules about that. But we will have lunch brought in. Hopefully that works for you and you can stay here with us. We'll have some snacks brought in the afternoon. And I mentioned the beer before, but there'll also be some food to go along with that so things don't get too crazy. And so we'll have a dinner at 7 o'clock. And hopefully you can stick around and continue to work if you want to. If not, just use that as a good time to socialize and get to know people better. One thing that's a little bit different about this hackathon than maybe some other hackathons you may have participated in, this isn't a marathon kind of coding competitive type event where you're going to work all night. At least that's not what it's meant to do. We'll close the room at 9. So at 9 o'clock, we all need to clear out of here. If you want to leave stuff behind, you can. The doors will be locked and it'll be closed until tomorrow morning. If you really want to keep working on stuff, the IETF network will still be up. There's no rules about not working. The rule is we just need to get out of this room. Okay, then the next day, we start up again very much like we did today. The doors will probably open around 8. Officially, we start again at 9. Food will be here. Lunch will be brought in. The important thing I want to show is that in the afternoon, we are going to give everyone a chance, and I recommend that you plan on doing this, to present what it was you did. What was it you were trying to do? What did you actually do? What did you learn? What would you feed back into the IETF? And so those project presentations will start at 2 o'clock, and they'll be very brief. Depending on how many teams we have, we'll have to limit that so we get through them in about an hour or so. So it's a good way to share with people what you did. It's also a good way, if you're here, to learn a little bit more about what everyone else did. So just time management wise, plan on that around 1:30, I'll be giving you reminders during the day, but around 1:30 to kind of start working on that project presentation and have something ready by 2 o'clock. We're going to have some judges in. For those of you who haven't been here before for this type of thing, the presentations are pretty informal, the judging's informal, but it is kind of fun to be able to award some winners at the end. And we have a few little prizes that we'll be able to give away. Don't get too excited about maybe winning some big cash award, because there won't be any. But we do have, certainly you'll get the praise and thanks and gratitude of your fellow IETF community. And we do have some token gifts to give away too. By 4 o'clock, we'll make sure that we're done. So those of you, there were quite a few of you who were here first IETF anything, I highly recommend you go to the newcomers meeting, which starts right after this at 4 o'clock. We'll make sure that we're done here so you can make it there on time. And if you do have some stuff you brought in to set up as part of your group, it needs to be gone by 5 o'clock, because this room will turn into the IETF lounge, so there'll be some reconfiguration of it. So plan on that as well. Any questions about the agenda? Okay. I mentioned the project presentations. This just kind of highlights what it is you'll be trying to cover. Really, again, keep it brief, think high level, think you're explaining to a community of technical folks, but who aren't intimately familiar with the details of your project, what it was you were trying to achieve, what it was you actually did, and what you learned along the way. And importantly, what you will contribute back into the IETF, perhaps in what changes you're going to make in your draft, or things you're going to bring back into your working group meeting. The idea being, we'll see how many people want to present, but it's probably going to be a 3-minute, 4-minute at the most presentation. So just keep that in mind, that it's a pretty lightweight, high-level presentation we'll be giving. And anyone in the team can give that. It doesn't need to be the champion. It could be multiple people, but it is, timing-wise, again, it's short, so don't do anything too complicated. We'll have some judges here, and they're going to be judging based on how well you met the goals of the IETF, right? To advance the pace and relevance of standards, and also to incorporate and attract new people into the IETF. Those are our kind of stated goals. And so we'll be looking to see, or the judges will be looking to see how well you achieve that. Okay, for those of you who are into taking photos and posting to Twitter, we definitely are happy to get some good exposure out there for what we're doing. I encourage you to do that. We have these couple hashtags that if you put them on, attach them to your post, IETF Hackathon and IETF 99, we'll have a little present to give out to whoever has the best post and best photo that they share. So we appreciate some good exposure, hopefully good exposure, in public and in the social media. So, okay, a couple other things. The hackathon, while I said it ends tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we do encourage you to continue to work on your stuff throughout the week. So we will have this space in the IETF lounge, which again is really make it simple for all of us. It's right here. This room gets converted into the IETF lounge. There'll be a space in the lounge that we're going to kind of corner off for the hackathon. And so you'll be able to come here and work on things. Also, I may as well give you the one bit of bad news. We have t-shirts, but they sort of got lost in transit. So, so they're going to be late, and what's worse is they won't show up till actually after the hackathon's over, and so they'll get here Monday because the folks delivering don't work weekends, I guess. So the t-shirts, the plan is I will have them here in the lounge, and you'll be able to come get your t-shirt. For those of you who aren't here Monday, maybe come see me, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to work something out to get a shirt to you, but we'll try to figure out something. So if getting the shirt's important to you, and I think it's kind of cool to get, come see me, we'll try to figure something out. Okay, on Thursday, you also have the opportunity to present to the larger community what it was you did. So I mentioned you do the short presentation here, but if you're not familiar with Bits and Bytes, it happens every, it generally happens on Thursdays in the evening. It's a fun, like, kind of social gathering. We have food, we have drinks, we have people demonstrating IETF relevant technology, and we'll have some space there for the hackathon where you can get up and you can show what the project is that you worked on, and people can come by and check it out and ask you questions. So it's a good opportunity if you have something that you think would be interesting to demonstrate and share with the larger IETF community. Come see me and let me know if that's something that you'd like to do. And it's something that we give preference to the award winners. That's one of the perks of actually being awarded something by the judges. But generally, we have enough space where we can let everyone who wants to present do it. But so come see me, and there's that opportunity. Bits and Bytes is 7:15 to 9:15 in Congress Hall 2. And I believe that's just downstairs. And that's where that'll happen. And so I recommend you do that. Check out what else is there and support the rest of the folks in the hackathon who are demonstrating what they did. Okay, this is the long list of projects that you have to choose from. Hopefully everyone's project is up there. If I'm missing any, let me know, because it'll be good to have a list, and then I'll trim this down also to be the list of people that actually want to present, and we'll go through and present at the end. But yeah, it's a daunting thing. Hopefully you're able to find a project, or maybe more than one project, that you want to work on. And again, if you have any problems with that, come see me. I'll try to help you out there. Okay, any questions? No one brought any up so far, but before I go quiet, any questions here? Okay, one thing I didn't cover, I want to invite John up here to tell you a bit about an opportunity that we have in addition to what you already see with just the IETF network that you can use. He has some equipment and another network that you can plug into that I'm going to let him tell you about.
Good morning. How are you guys? Some of you may recognize me. Thank you, Charles, for the opportunity here. So my name is John Brzezowski. For anybody who's been coming to Bits and Bytes over the past few years, similar to how Charles runs Hackathon, I've had the pleasure to help run Bits and Bytes since Orlando. Some of our equipment suffered the same fate as your T-shirts. It seems, shipping things from the U.S. to Europe, it often is confronted with complications. Regardless, the equipment will be here. So one of the things that I like to do, Charles and I have been kind of interacting with one another for kind of many months now, trying to find a way to kind of synergize and kind of create better opportunities for you guys to do the things that you like, want, and need to do. So one of the things that we've done since the beginning of Bits and Bytes is we would bring in effectively a specialized network. The interesting part about that has been it's often been a DOCSIS network. So the DOCSIS is what, I work for Comcast for the record, but DOCSIS is what, Comcast and many other cable companies use to take broadband to tens of millions of homes worldwide, not hundreds of millions of homes worldwide. But that's not the only thing that you'll find in this kind of portable lab network. It's always separate from the IETF network. It's got dedicated hardware for virtualization. So if you wanted to kind of spin up your own VM, request a VM, bring your own to have us load in, those are all opportunities that you could go ahead and consider exploring as part of the work that you do here. One of the things that we're talking about doing is finding a way to make that environment available for an extended period of time throughout the duration of the IETF. So one of the things we really need from you guys is as impressive as it is that you're here today on a Saturday morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, we'd like to know, Charles and I would both like to know, what is it that you would find useful to have available to you throughout your time here at an IETF for those of you that are staying, right? So I'll work through Charles to get updates out to you today, tomorrow, throughout the rest of the week so that you know what's available, when, and where. But I think what we're going to try to do is maybe even roll it into here. We'll sort out logistics once the actual the kind of the container shows up. But I think the most important part for us is to understand what you'd like to see happen, throughout the course of the week before the actual Bits and Bytes event happens on Thursday night. So with that being said, I'll kind of pause there. I don't know if you guys have questions or if that's more of like a public service announcement. I'll ask Charles to see if he has anything that he'd like to add because I missed it. If not, then I'll just regular schedule program.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks, John. And okay, I gave you the bad news about the T-shirts. The good news is I'm done with my bit. So that I'll let you guys get at it. Yeah, main part now is if you hadn't already figured out what team you want to be in, go ahead, move around. Feel free if you need to rearrange stuff or move chairs or combine tables, we can do that too. And again, if you have any problems getting plugged in, if you have any questions about the hackathon, come up and see me, see Barry. We'll be here. We're here to help. And with that, I'll be quiet so you can get to it. All right. Thanks, everyone.
So I'll work through Charles to get updates out to you today, tomorrow, throughout the rest of the week so that you know what's available, when, and where. But I think what we're going to try to do is maybe even roll it into here. We'll sort out logistics once the actual the kind of the container shows up. But I think the most important part for us is to understand what you'd like to see happen, throughout the course of the week before the actual Bits and Bytes event happens on Thursday night. So with that being said, I'll kind of pause there. I don't know if you guys have questions or if that's more of like a public service announcement. I'll ask Charles to see if he has anything that he'd like to add because I missed it. If not, then I'll just regular schedule program.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks, John. And okay, I gave you the bad news about the T-shirts. The good news is I'm done with my bit. So that I'll let you guys get at it. Yeah, main part now is if you hadn't already figured out what team you want to be in, go ahead, move around. Feel free if you need to rearrange stuff or move chairs or combine tables, we can do that too. And again, if you have any problems getting plugged in, if you have any questions about the hackathon, come up and see me, see Barry. We'll be here. We're here to help. And with that, I'll be quiet so you can get to it. All right. Thanks, everyone.